Some endure the storm, while others are swept away. It is the storm that shapes them, that either breaks or builds the human spirit. The storm comes in many forms: suffering, loss, fear, and the crushing weight of existence itself. But within each storm lies a choice to endure or to be overwhelmed. There is a hidden power in this choice, a power that transcends the circumstances and reaches into the very core of the human soul. Viktor Frankl, in his darkest hours of suffering, discovered that this power exists not in the ability to avoid the storm, but in how one chooses to face it. He understood something that few ever will. That meaning is not something granted to us from the outside world. It is something we create within ourselves, something that is birthed in the crucible of our suffering, in the quiet moments where we choose how to respond to life's challenges. Frankl's life was not defined by the horrors he endured, but by the meaning he chose to find in them. Living as if every moment has meaning is not about waiting for the world to offer purpose, but about creating that purpose through every choice, every thought, every action. It is about seeing each moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, as an opportunity to transcend the circumstances and find meaning in the present. For it is in the present, in the here and now, that life's true significance unfolds. Imagine, for a moment, that every breath you take, every conversation, every task you perform, holds within it the potential for meaning. The way you engage with the world, the choices you make in the face of adversity, are what shape the very fabric of your existence. The mind, the heart, and the soul are constantly at work, weaving meaning into the tapestry of life. But this requires a profound shift in perspective, a radical change in how one sees the world. Frankl's philosophy teaches that the power to find meaning lies not in the external circumstances, but in the internal choices we make. No matter what life throws our way, we have the ability to choose our attitude, to decide how we will approach the challenges before us. It is not the events of our lives that define us, but the meaning we create in response to those events. The external world may be chaotic, uncertain, and filled with suffering, but within each of us lies the power to choose a path of meaning. This choice is not a passive act. It requires engagement, responsibility, and a willingness to take ownership of one's life. Responsibility, in Frankl's view, is not about fulfilling obligations or meeting external expectations. It is about taking ownership of one's own life, of recognizing that we are the creators of our meaning. We must accept the weight of this responsibility, for it is only through this acceptance that we are able to transcend our suffering and live with purpose. It is through this responsibility that we unlock the deepest strength of the human spirit. Responsibility is also deeply tied to the concept of freedom. Frankl's insight was profound. No matter the external circumstances, no matter the suffering or deprivation we face, we still have the freedom to choose how we respond. This freedom is not the freedom to control everything around us, but the freedom to control our own minds, to choose our attitudes, and to shape our reactions. The human spirit, in its purest form, is free to find meaning, to create purpose, and to transcend suffering. This freedom is not without its challenges. It requires an unwavering commitment to the truth that, even in the most difficult moments, we can choose meaning. It requires courage, for the path of meaning is not the path of least resistance. It demands strength of character, a willingness to confront suffering head-on and transform it into something of value. This is the essence of living as if every moment has meaning, to take ownership of each moment, to see the potential for purpose in the most ordinary of experiences, and to rise above the challenges that life presents. Yet, it is not always easy. There are times when the storm seems too fierce, when the weight of suffering feels unbearable, and when the darkness threatens to consume us. In these moments, it is easy to forget the power we have to choose meaning. But it is precisely in these moments that the greatest opportunity for growth lies. For those who endure, who choose to face their suffering with dignity and responsibility, there comes a moment of transcendence, a moment when the pain no longer defines them, but becomes the very thing that propels them forward. To live as if every moment has meaning is to cultivate the ability to see beyond the surface of things, to look deeper into life and recognize the potential for meaning in every experience. It is about shifting from a passive existence, where we are merely reacting to the world around us, to an active engagement with life, where we are creating meaning in every moment. The question, then, is not whether meaning exists, but whether we are willing to find it, to see it, and to live it. It is not about waiting for meaning to arrive, but about choosing to create it in the face of whatever life may bring. This choice, this act of creation, is the key to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. The question that inevitably arises when confronted with the idea of creating meaning in every moment is whether it is possible to find meaning in suffering. For suffering is universal. It touches every life, regardless of circumstance, wealth, or status. It is the common thread that binds humanity together. The pain of loss, the weight of disappointment, the crushing sense of helplessness. These are experiences that all people share. Yet, in the face of suffering, there lies an opportunity to either be consumed by despair or to choose a path of growth. Viktor Frankl's own life is a testament to the possibility of finding meaning even in the most extreme suffering. During his time in the Nazi concentration camps, Frankl faced unimaginable horrors. He was stripped of his family, his dignity, his freedom, and even his name. Yet, in those moments of profound suffering, Frankl discovered something extraordinary: the power of choice. He realized that, though the external world had stripped him of everything, he still retained the freedom to choose how he would respond. This choice, the ability to choose one's attitude, one's perspective, became his lifeline. Frankl's insights were revolutionary. The most important freedom we have as human beings is the freedom to choose how we respond to our circumstances. Even in the most brutal of conditions, Frankl chose to find meaning. He saw suffering not as a pointless affliction, but as a space in which meaning could be created. For him, it was not the suffering itself that held significance, but the way he chose to engage with it. In the face of profound pain and loss, Frankl chose to see his suffering as an opportunity to transcend, to find a deeper purpose in his life. This insight is crucial for anyone seeking to live as if every moment has meaning. It is not the absence of suffering that defines us, but our ability to find meaning within it. The storms of life are inevitable. The challenge is not in avoiding them, but in how we choose to navigate through them. This is where the true power of human resilience lies, not in the absence of hardship, but in the capacity to create meaning in the midst of it. It is easy to fall into despair when faced with suffering. The world often seems cruel and indifferent to our pain. But Frankl's message is clear. In the face of suffering, there is a freedom that cannot be taken away. The freedom to choose how we respond, the freedom to find meaning even in the darkest of times. This is the essence of living a life of purpose, not waiting for the perfect circumstances, but choosing to create meaning in every circumstance, no matter how difficult. And yet, the path to meaning is not an easy one. It requires a deep commitment to responsibility. The responsibility to choose meaning even when it is hard, even when the world seems to be falling apart. Responsibility is not merely about fulfilling duties or obligations. It is about taking ownership of our lives, our choices, and our responses. It is about accepting that we have the power to shape our experience, no matter what the external world presents. This responsibility is tied to the concept of freedom. The freedom that Frankl discovered is not the freedom to control everything around us, but the freedom to control our inner world. It is the freedom to choose our attitudes, our thoughts, and our actions in the face of life's challenges. When we accept this freedom, we realize that we are not victims of circumstance. We are the creators of our own meaning, and it is through this act of creation that we unlock the deepest potential of the human spirit. Consider, too, the wisdom of the Stoic philosophers. Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus all understood that external events are beyond our control. We cannot dictate the circumstances of our lives, but we can choose how to respond to them. The Stoics saw adversity not as something to be avoided, but as an opportunity to cultivate virtue, to strengthen character, and to expand the soul. This is not a denial of pain. It is an acknowledgement that pain, when met with wisdom and purpose, can lead to greater growth and self-understanding. For Frankl, this was the key to enduring the worst that life could offer. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." In this simple yet profound statement, Frankl encapsulates the essence of what it means to live with meaning, to find within ourselves the strength and the freedom to choose how we respond to life's challenges. This choice to change, to transform ourselves in the face of suffering, is where true meaning is found. This idea, that suffering can be transformed into meaning, is not just a philosophical concept, but a lived reality. Modern psychological research into trauma and recovery affirms this truth. Survivors of trauma often report that, through the process of recovery, they discovered a deeper sense of purpose, a renewed appreciation for life, and a greater capacity for empathy and connection. In facing the darkest moments, they found not only the strength to survive, but the opportunity to transform. They learned that meaning is not something that comes from the outside, but something that is created from within, through the choices they make in the face of suffering. To live as if every moment has meaning is not a passive act. It is an active engagement with life. It requires a deep commitment to responsibility, to freedom, and to the choice to find meaning in every circumstance. It requires the courage to face suffering head-on and to transform it into something that propels us forward, something that deepens our understanding of ourselves and of the world around us. As one journeys through life, it becomes clear that meaning is not merely found in moments of peace or ease, but is often forged in the crucible of adversity. The deepest strength arises not from avoiding suffering, but from embracing it with dignity and purpose. Every challenge, every obstacle, becomes an invitation to rise above the pain, to create meaning, and to transform. This is the profound essence of Viktor Frankl's philosophy, and it is in embracing this essence that life reveals its true potential. When we talk about living as if every moment has meaning, we are not suggesting that every moment is easy or free from hardship. Life, in its rawest form, is full of challenges, heartaches, and moments of doubt. The question, however, is not whether we will face suffering, we undoubtedly will, but how we will respond to it. Will we succumb to the weight of despair, or will we choose to create meaning, to rise above the circumstances, and to find purpose in the journey? Frankl's insight into suffering is revolutionary. It is not the suffering itself that holds significance, but the way we engage with it. He taught that it is in the moments of greatest suffering that the human spirit has the opportunity to grow the most. This is where we find the freedom to choose meaning. This is where we find the strength to transcend. The freedom Frankl discovered was not the freedom to control everything that happens to us, but the freedom to control how we respond to it, how we find purpose in it, and how we use it to grow. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, this ability to choose meaning becomes an anchor. It is the recognition that, no matter what life throws at us, we still have the power to choose our perspective, to choose our attitude, and to choose our path forward. The circumstances of our lives may be beyond our control, but how we respond to those circumstances is entirely up to us. This realization, that meaning is created through our choices, is both liberating and empowering. It gives us the strength to face life's challenges with a sense of purpose and resolve. It helps us understand that every experience, whether joyful or painful, holds within it the potential for growth. It is this power to transform our suffering into meaning that allows us to live with purpose, to rise above the difficulties that come our way, and to find deeper significance in every moment. To live as if every moment has meaning is to cultivate a mindset of intentionality. It is to wake up each day with the awareness that we have the power to shape our experience, to choose how we will engage with the world. It is about approaching each moment with the understanding that our actions, our thoughts, and our responses are not meaningless. They are the building blocks of our lives, the tools through which we create our own meaning. This intentionality also brings with it a deep sense of responsibility. Responsibility is not a burden, but a privilege. It is the understanding that we are not passive recipients of life, but active participants in it. Every moment presents an opportunity to create meaning, to make a choice, and to take ownership of our journey. This responsibility is not about fulfilling obligations to others. It is about fulfilling our responsibility to ourselves, to live with purpose, to find meaning in the chaos, and to rise above the storms that life inevitably brings. Responsibility is the foundation upon which we build a meaningful life. It is the recognition that, even when we cannot control the external circumstances, we always have control over how we respond to them. It is the ability to choose our attitude, our perspective, and our actions. In this sense, responsibility is the ultimate freedom. The freedom to choose how we will face life, how we will rise above the challenges, and how we will create meaning in every moment. But responsibility is not just a solitary endeavor. It is deeply connected to our relationships with others, to the way we interact with the world around us. Frankl often emphasized the importance of connection, of finding meaning not only within ourselves, but also in our relationships with others. The human spirit is not meant to endure in isolation. It thrives in connection. In the most difficult of times, it is the bonds we form with others that provide the strength to endure. It is through these connections that we discover a deeper sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, and a shared humanity that transcends individual suffering. The ability to live as if every moment has meaning is also the ability to see the world through a lens of hope. Hope is not an abstract ideal or a passive wish for things to get better. Hope is the belief that, no matter how dark the moment, there is always the potential for growth, for transformation, and for meaning. Hope is the fuel that drives us forward when everything else seems to be crumbling. It is the quiet assurance that, even in the face of suffering, there is a deeper purpose at work. Hope is not something that is given to us from the outside. It is something we create within ourselves. It is the choice to believe that our lives have meaning, even in the midst of uncertainty. It is the refusal to give in to despair, to continue moving forward with faith in the possibility of something greater. It is the understanding that suffering, when embraced with meaning, becomes a path to healing and growth. To live with hope is to live with an unwavering belief that every moment has potential for growth, for meaning, for transformation. Hope is the quiet strength that sustains us through life's darkest moments, the belief that, even in the absence of answers, we can still choose our path forward. The essence of living as if every moment has meaning lies not just in hope, responsibility, or the ability to endure suffering, but in the radical power of choice. The central tenet of Viktor Frankl's philosophy was that, in the face of suffering, we are always free to choose how we respond. This is where the true liberation exists, not in the absence of hardship, but in the internal freedom to navigate those hardships with purpose and dignity. In a world that often seems to push us toward passivity, where we are told that meaning must be found in external achievements or approval, the ability to choose meaning is revolutionary. The external world may offer chaos, confusion, and loss, but the internal world, where choice lives, is ours to shape. In this way, the ultimate power of the human spirit lies not in what is done to us, but in what we choose to make of what is done to us. We cannot always control the circumstances of our lives, but we can control how we meet them. This is the paradox of life. The more we try to escape suffering, the more we become its victims. But when we accept suffering as part of the human condition, when we embrace it with responsibility, with courage, and with the knowledge that we can still choose how to respond, we unlock a deeper sense of meaning. We stop running from the pain, and instead, we learn to find the treasure hidden within it. Frankl's own life bears witness to this truth. In the concentration camps, where he was stripped of everything, including his family and his freedom, he realized that even in the most extreme circumstances, he could choose how to respond. He chose to find meaning in his suffering, to see it as an opportunity to transcend, to discover a deeper connection to humanity, and to fulfill a greater purpose. It was in that moment of suffering that he discovered a truth that would become the foundation of his work. Meaning can be found, even in the darkest of moments. This is where the power of choice becomes a beacon of light in the storm. When faced with the harshest of realities, we are still free to choose how we will respond. This does not mean denying the pain, pretending that everything will be okay, or avoiding the difficulties of life. It means choosing to rise, to meet the pain with dignity, to find the lesson, the growth, the meaning, and the purpose that lie hidden within the suffering. It means choosing to live with intention, with the awareness that every moment holds within it the possibility of transformation. Living with meaning is a practice, a continual act of choosing, a decision to create purpose out of every moment, regardless of how difficult the circumstances may be. It is choosing to take responsibility for our lives, to act with intention, and to rise above the noise of the world. It is not a passive waiting for life to grant us meaning, but an active creation of that meaning through every choice we make. This is where the strength of the human spirit resides, in the courage to choose meaning, to choose purpose, to choose hope, to choose love, to choose to transcend the suffering, the doubt, the fear. And it is in making these choices that we begin to experience the true liberation that comes with living as if every moment has meaning. In your own life, as you navigate the trials and challenges that inevitably come your way, remember that you have within you the power to choose how you will respond. You are not defined by the external forces that shape your life, but by the internal choices you make. The storms of life will come, but you have the power to choose how you will endure them. You have the power to choose to find meaning in the midst of suffering. You have the freedom to choose your path, your attitude, and your purpose. When you are faced with the overwhelming weight of life's trials, remember this: the one who has a why can endure almost any how. It is in your search for meaning, in your willingness to choose purpose and responsibility, even in the darkest times, that you will find the strength to transcend your circumstances, to rise above the pain, and to discover the profound depth of your own resilience. You are the architect of your own meaning. You are the creator of your own path. And it is through the choices you make, in each moment, each decision, that you will uncover the deepest purpose of your life. Your suffering does not define you. It is how you respond to it that reveals the true power of your spirit.